Hello all, welcome to Tech Capture. So in our playlist till now we worked on a lot of ADK agents. We created ADK agent for multiple scenarios, but since past few videos we are talking about MCP servers. So we created MCP servers using VS Code, we created using a Google Maps, and we also created our MCP servers using the cloud desktop. So in our last video we spoke about what is a MCP Toolbox for database, which is an open source MCP server for connecting to your databases. In this video we are going one step ahead and we are creating our ADK agent, which we will integrate with the BigQuery MCP servers. So let's see what we are going to do in this video. So one warning I have to give: this video will be longer, this video will be slower, because I am purposefully trying to cover all the things from the basics. I am creating our agent, our MCP servers from the scratch, and I want to cover all the steps slowly so you will understand. Because if you are in a Google Cloud or a data engineering domain, so this video will be game changer. In upcoming Agentic AI projects, you will use these MCP servers for BigQuery for any kind of a data analytics project. Okay, so let's talk about this project, what we are going to do in this video. So we'll be using a MCP Toolbox for database, which we covered in our last sessions. What is MCP Toolbox for database and how we can use it. And then we are having one employee data, which is a table in our BigQuery data set. Okay, and that is in a BigQuery. So we'll be creating MCP servers for our BigQuery data, and we'll be using the inbuilt tools. Apart from the inbuilt tools, we are also creating our own tools for our analysis. Okay, so I'll walk you through how we can use inbuilt tools and how we can create our own tools as well. And also we'll be creating one HR analyst agent, which will use this employee data and get the insight on data in the natural language. Let's say suppose HR wants to know the salary of particular employee, then HR just give the employee ID and it can get the salary of that employee. Also HR just want to know who is having the highest salary in particular country. It just asks the natural language question and HR will get all the answers. So HR should not be having definitely the SQL query knowledge or the database knowledge. So we can create such agent for the HR, so they can simply ask the question in the natural language and get the response back from the agent. Okay, so let's have a look at the steps we are going to perform. Okay, so first thing, what is MCP Toolbox for database? I'm just reiterating again, this is an open source MCP server for database, which we can use a readily available tools. Okay, so let's have the steps here how we can use this. So first we have to install MCP Toolbox for database. Then we have to configure MCP Toolbox for database. Why we need to configure? Because it supports a lot of databases: MySQL, PostgreSQL, MongoDB, BigQuery, AlloyDB, Cloud SQL, Cloud Spanner. So when we talk about configuring this toolbox, it means from this database we have to configure our source. Okay, what source we are connecting? Are we connecting to BigQuery? Are we connecting to the Spanner? So we have to configure that. Okay, we will configure our toolbox, and then we will run MCP servers in the testing mode. So how we can run it locally, and we will test using the UI. So MCP Toolbox for the database comes with inbuilt UI, so we can just check the tools functionality if it is working fine or not using the UI before we integrate it with our agent. So once our MCP Toolbox is ready, we can also test it with one more option. So MCP comes with the inspectors service. So this is nothing but the Node.js service. The MCP inspector is an interactive developer tool for testing and debugging MCP server. So this is provided by MCP. Okay, this is not for the toolbox for database. So toolbox for database will provide you the database UI, but this MCP inspector comes within the MCP package. Okay, so then once it is tested with the inspector, it means our MCP server is ready for use. And then we will write our ADK agent and we'll connect our agent with the MCP. Okay, so just pardon for this typo. Okay, we can write our ADK agent and connect agent with the MCP. So then we'll start our agent, we'll test our agent and see if it is giving the correct responses. Okay, so this is overall steps we are going to perform. So I'll just have these steps handy and we'll start working on our first step, which is the installing MCP Toolbox for the database. Okay, so let's go to the VS Code and start working on the first step. Okay, so I'm into my VS Code, so I'll just create one folder here. Okay, so I'll just create a folder. So I'll just create MCP Toolbox demo, or I'll just give the name as BigQuery MCP Server. Okay, so I just want this in my root. I just don't want to mix up with the earlier agent. Okay, so we'll be working only in this directory. Okay, so I have created here a root folder, that is a BigQuery MCP servers. Okay, so in this directory I am creating two subdirectory. One is specifically for MCP Toolbox, okay, and one I'll be creating specifically for a HR agent. So I'll just write HR agent. Okay, so I'm having these two folders. So in this HR agent folder I'll be writing ADK code, and here I'll be starting my MCP servers. Okay, so let's go back to the steps. So what is our first step? Okay, installing MCP Toolbox for the database. So for that I will just go to the Chrome and the documentation. There will get the command to install the MCP Toolbox. So I'll refer this official documentation. Okay, so here you can see the options. Okay, so how to connect to the MCP servers, how to download it. Okay, so let's go here, and I'm using Mac, so I'll just use this command to download the MCP Toolbox. Okay, so our first step is to install the MCP Toolbox for the database. So I'll go to VS Code here. I'll open a terminal now. Okay, and I'll just go to the correct folder, BigQuery MCP servers, and then MCP Toolbox. Okay, so let me just drag it here. Yeah, so I'll just paste this command. So before that, you can see there is a placeholder for the version. So which version we have to use? So let's go here. You can see here version is a placeholder, so we have to check which version we need to use. So let me go back to the documentation again, to our MCP Toolbox documentation, and here you will see the version. So I'll use not the latest 17, I will use the 16th, v0.16.0. v0.16.0. so it will download the toolbox file. Okay, you can see it's downloading, and within this folder you will see the toolbox file. We can check the version also once it is downloaded. Okay, it is downloaded. So currently it is not having permission, so if I try to check the version, it will give an error. So I'll show you. It will give me the permission denied error. So it is permission denied. So let me give the permission. Okay, and let's try it now. Okay, so you can see it is having the 16 version. Okay, now our toolbox is downloaded, but still we need to look for the next steps. Okay, so what is our next step? Configure MCP Toolbox for the database. Okay, so as I mentioned, it comes with the pre-built tool, but I also need to write my tools. So for that we can use a tools.yaml file. Okay, now one important step about this tools.yaml file, how to write this tools.yaml file. So let's follow the documentation. Okay, so here first thing, in your tools.yaml file we need to mention the source where we are connecting. Okay, so let's go to the resources and source. So first is a BigQuery source. So okay, so how to write a source? So first we have to give the source. I'll give the source here. Okay, I'll remove this. These are the optional, so I'll just walk you through. So I'll just give the name. BQ employee data. Okay, this is my source I am giving, and then kind is BigQuery, it is our source, and project ID. So I'll give my project ID TT labs G01, which is my GCP project ID. So in my GCP, so you can see I'm having this ADK demo data set, and within this I am having this employee table which we'll be using for this demo. So it is having 1000 records. Okay, and this is some dummy data for employees, so I'll be using this data to interact with. Okay, so let's go to the VS Code. So I'm using this TT Labs BigQuery, and now one thing you can give the US, you can have write mode allowed. So when you talk about write mode allowed, it means your agent can write to the database, but manage that in our agents as well. Okay, so we can just have it write mode allowed, or we just keep it default. Okay, this is our source is configured. Now we need to configure the tools. So how to configure the tools? So you can just go back here, and source is done. I'll show you the tools. So here is one example for the tools. Okay, so we need this kind of files, and we can write our tools within this. So I am having the files available. I'll just paste it. Okay, so I'll just explain you the file. So within the tools we are having two tools. One is search employees by ID. So what I am doing, the source GCP BQ employee I'll replace with our source, which is, just a second, I mistakenly pressed something. Yeah, so I'll just copy this source. So this source should be the same here. Okay, so BQ employee data, and this is our first tool, which is search employee by ID. So it is simple select query which is searching employee by ID, but here it is a parameterized query. So whatever the user ID or whatever the employee ID we are asking to the agent, it will dynamically pass that to our query, and it will take that employee ID. Okay, so employee ID, it is like example, it is showing how we can pass the employee ID. So this is our first tool, search employee by ID. We are giving kind, which is a BigQuery SQL. So this is BigQuery SQL is inbuilt tools. Okay, so I will show you here. So when we talk about the kind, so this kind is the, so if I go to the source, yeah, so we are using this inbuilt tools. So we are writing our own tools on top of this inbuilt tools. So we are writing this BigQuery SQL. Okay, and this is our source which we created here, and this is our query. So simple select query with the employee ID. Then this is the parameter, which parameter it accept only the employee ID. Then second tool, we are having search employee by country. Here also I will change the source. Okay, and this query take the employee data based on the country. So parameter here is a country. Okay, so this is our second tool, and we are creating the parameter again, which will take the country name as a parameter and execute this query. And this is again the parameterized query. Okay, now we are creating tool set, so we can use this both in both the custom tools in our agent. So this is our GCP BQ employees. So this tools.yaml file is created, and we configured our MCP server, but let's check it if it is working fine. So how to test it? So simple toolbox, and first we will test it with the UI. Okay, and now you have to pass the tools file, which will be your tools.yaml, and then UI. Okay, let's enter. So you can see initialize one source because we are having only one source here. Okay, then auth service is 0 because I am using my default application credentials and I haven't passed anything in the authentication here. Initialize two tools because we are having two tools, and in the tool set also we are having two tools, so it will take as a two tool set. Now I'll just open this UI. So this is the UI which we can use for MCP Toolbox for the database. Now here you will not see anything. If I go to the tools, you will see the tools available, which are our custom tools. It's search employee by country and search employees by ID. So here we can test our MCP servers if it is working fine or not. So first I will test with the employee ID. So let's take any one employee ID 155. Okay, so I'll just take 155 and I'll just run tool. Okay, so we are getting the response here, you can see. Let me just zoom in a bit. Yeah, so we are getting the response for 155. It is the first name is Sarah, last name Lopez, the same employee, Sarah Lopez. Okay, so it is working fine. Let's check another tool as well. Search employee by country. So I'll take all the employees from the India. I'll run a tool and you will see all the employees are available from the India. So it is giving the response. It means our MCP servers is working fine, and you can see the logs as well. All response code 200, and you see the logs for the HTTP request. So our steps, let's check for the steps, which steps are completed. Okay, so first step is done. Second, configuring MCP service for MCP toolbox for database is done. We are running our MCP servers and we are testing with the UI. Now test the toolbox via MCP inspector. Okay, so this is important. I'll show you how to test it, or you can just go here, and here also I will show you. Yeah, here also you can check how to test with the toolbox. So you have to just run this command and it will ask you to install. If you do not have this npx package installed, you have to install it. Okay, so just open a new tab, go to the same folder. Okay, and then just run this. So I already have this installed, so it will not ask me to install again. Now you can see the starting MCP inspector, and it started on this link directly. So it's streamable HTTP. If it is not selected, you have to select the streamable HTTP and you have to put this URL. And in configuration you will see the token, so the same token you will see here as well. Okay, so the same token you will see in the logs as well. Now this is the provided by MCP. Let's connect. Okay, it is connected. Here also you can see the list of tools. So currently we are having two tools, search employee ID and search country. So let's try with this method as well. Again, we'll check for one employee ID. I'll check for 268. Okay, so we are getting a response. So even with the MCP inspector, it is giving response, and our MCP server is working completely fine. So we tested our MCP servers with both the UI as well as with the MCP inspector. So our first 5 steps are done. Now we will start writing our ADK agent. Okay, so I'll just go back to a VS Code. So let's open a new tab, and now I will go to BigQuery agent, and now I will go to the HR agent directory. Okay, so one important thing, I don't need to create this HR agent because my ADK will automatically create this folder. So let me go back. Okay, so I'll go to let me just close and open again BigQuery MCP server. So what I will do now, in this one I will create ADK create HR agent. So it will create folder for me. Okay, so it will ask which model I need to use. So I will go ahead with the default Gemini. I will use Google AI. I will use the Vertex AI because I don't want to use API key. I will just go with my default application credentials. So I will go with the option 2. Okay, so project TT Labs correct. I'll just enter location US Central 1. I'm fine. And now it created the file HR agent here folder. Okay, so within this HR agent you see all the 3 files are now available. So now I will go to this agent.py and see the structure. you are helpful assistant for user queries, answer user queries for best of your knowledge. So all these things are fine. So I will just update the instruction because I want it to look like as an HR agent. So I'll just pass an instruction. So I just copied the instruction earlier. You can take it this instruction for ChatGPT. Okay, so you can see what instructions I am giving. You are an HR analyst. Use the tools to answer the question about employees, countries, and workforce stats. Use search user by ID for employee ID. Use search users by country for country based queries. Respond clearly and concisely. No SQL, no tool names, just insights. Okay, so we are asking our agent to provide the responses in the natural language and not into the SQLs. Okay, so we still not having any tools here, so let's create a tools. So for that we have to add two lines here. Okay, so toolbox client, let's import from toolbox core, import toolbox sync client. Okay, so sometimes you will get error because toolbox core module is not available, so you have to install it using pip install toolbox core. So I'm giving this URL because my MCP server is running on that URL. So this is my MCP servers. You can see it is running on this URL 5000 port. Okay, so I'm giving this URL here, and GCP BQ employees. So this is my toolset, because if you go to the tools.yaml, what is the toolset name I have given? So GCP BQ employees, this is my toolset name. So I have passed that to my tools, and I'm asking this is my tools available, and then I will add tools is equal to tools. Okay, so now my agent is ready. Let's try to run the agent. Okay, so I'll just go to the directory and I will type ADK web. So ADK web will run my agent. So let's see if it give the response or will get any issues. So we are having HR agent. I will start with hello. So it should mention that I am HR analyst, because that's, yeah, you can see hello, I am your HR data analyst, how I can help you today. Okay, so I'll just start with the basic question. Okay, so let's say for this employee, help me to get salary for employee with employee ID. Okay, let's see which tool it call, and you can see the search employees by ID tool it called. It is having two tools, search employees by country and ID. So the salary is 84,569. Let's check the salary, 197, 84, 569. So this is giving the correct result. Okay, now let's ask something country specific. Show me employees from India which are in finance department. Okay, so now it is calling the another tool. So here this is called to the tool, you can see the arrow, and this is the response from the tool, and you can see here are the employees from India which are in the finance department. So you can clearly see these are. So let's validate if it is correct or not, and also I want to show you how it is happening at the back end. So whenever we are making a call, it also executing the query on a BigQuery. So let me just show you. So time, you can see the 12:59 today, and the same 12:58. Let me refresh. Okay, so this is the last query. If I open this query, so which query it executed? So it executed this parameterized query. Parameter is used as a India. Okay, so that query it is executing on BigQuery. So first it is getting all the data from India employee, and then our LLM is sorting all the employees. Okay, so let's ask the one more question. Who is having highest salary in India? The employee with the highest salary in India is John Johnson with employee ID 977. Okay, do we see employee with 977? Yeah, you can see it is having 99,322, which is highest among the finance department. Okay, so because we are having the follow-up questions on the finance department. So hope this is clear how we can use the BigQuery and we can do analysis in the natural language using the BigQuery MCP servers. Hope it is clear now how it can help to get the insight from the data stored in BigQuery in the natural languages, and you can create such agent to automate a lot of tasks, automate a lot of I would say the operations, and you can create MCP servers for BigQuery and for your data. So that's it for this video. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I would suggest just try to build with your environment and you will learn a lot of things. And in future this will be a core of the Agentic AI. When you are creating and working with the data, it will be a MCP servers where your Agentic AI or your agents will connect to the database. So thank you for watching this video, and we'll see you again in the next video.